My name is Patrice and welcome to the Golden Helix Guild YouTube channel. Today my guest is Tina Angeli. She is a healer, a medium, and a speaker. She is also the founder of the S.O.U.L Center in Granby, Connecticut. S.O.U.L is an acronym for Source of Unconditional Love, and the center will be celebrating its 11th anniversary this September 2014. She hosts meditation gatherings there on the first Thursday of the month, and she has the largest private labyrinth in the state of Connecticut is located there also. Now, I interviewed Tina in March of 2014, and we talked about her near-death experiences. Actually, we talked about her physical near-death experiences. And today we'll talk more about near-death experiences and emotional ones. So if you could please tell everyone a little bit about near-death experiences in general before we get started on the other.
Well, in general is that whether it's by accident or drowning or anything such as that, what happens is that the soul leaves the body and it goes into a different dimension, but it's still the soul is still attached to the body because of that silver cord, the invisible silver cord. So you don't, in order to have a near-death experience, that's why it's called a near-death experience, is that you don't necessarily completely die. You just, your soul leaves the body and it stays in a different dimension. When you come back from that, what I've heard from also the groups that I've attended and people that I've spoken with is that they're never the same again. Something changes, and it's just like being more there than here. It's very difficult to even explain.
Well, near-death experiences have been recorded in Greek and Roman writings, in ancient Buddhist writings, in Aboriginal societies that they talk about near-death experiences there also. So the thing about, I know that there are certain patterns that happen, and one of the patterns is for this type of change. The question in the medical community is that they can attribute some of these changes to actual changes in the brain. So if someone becomes more psychic, or they have tremendous changes in personality, they say, well, this happened because there are changes to the brain. So the question becomes, did the near-death experience cause the changes in the brain that ended up in these types of changes? Now, some of these changes are that people want to help others, right?
That's very intense, yes.
And what are some of the others?
Some of the other changes are that your life is just more meaningful. There's this incredible draw to express, to share the experiences with others. And also in my case, for example, my vision became a lot more clear than it used to be. And also the dream state was so much more clear. And some of the dreams, it's like I can't even believe I've never had them before. Very intense. And also the interaction with other people is very, very different. Sometimes there's this feeling, I wish I was like everybody else and not really know that there's more to life than that. Especially when I hear people have very simple conversations, like they talk about the movies or things like that. It's like I feel kind of out of place, and sometimes I want to say, well, there's more to this than that. But I just have become also more patient with people, and the compassion that I feel for others is even more intense now than ever. The messages that I give to people, whether in my group or in private sessions, are more intense, more precise. It's just I basically I feel very grateful to be able to be of service in this way.
Now, I know a lot of different people have come and talked to you about experiences that they've had or possible experiences, but they haven't integrated it very well. And as you were saying, it could be because they have this sense of they're different now. And
Yeah. They feel that they're different, they just don't know why or how to integrate it to their normal way of life, everyday life.
so sometimes if you do have this, it's not like everything becomes rosy.
No, sometimes quite the opposite,
And
because you feel so out of place.
Right.
I still do. But what really helps me is that I've become aware of the fact that in order to be of help to others, I've had to experience all these things. So then I know exactly, because I've been there, done that.
Right. Now, another pattern, I suppose, of near-death experiences is that the memory is so vivid, more vivid than what happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there is a cognitive psychologist that says it seems to suggest that what people recall in that moment is particularly genuine. It's not a false memory that occurs after the event.
No, there is definitely nothing false about that. You become aware that you are part of the whole rather than just an individual human, and that's what gives me the feeling that what I'm doing, what I'm sharing with others, and the way I'm able to help is definitely helping, because I hear the feedback, and that's what's important. So it's
Now, I understand 5% of the general population have had or have reported a near-death experience. So there may be many others that don't yet know that that is what's happening. Because if that's not in your awareness and you tell people about it, they say, you hit your head really hard.
yeah. Well, this is why the IANS, the International Association of Near-Death Studies website, even has printouts of information that can be taken with you to when you go see or when you're looking for a psychiatrist or a counselor to help you with this. It's not something that the mental health has dealt with until now. So they're not aware. That's not part of their training. So the INs and all the researchers that are there, they've formulated this one-page printout that is very valuable to go and check out.
So there are definite patterns.
There's no question.
And that is one of the ways to tell if that is a genuine near-death experience.
Yes, and although that a lot of them are different, I've learned that they are different, but the patterns are there as far as the clarity and just being able to go there by intention and feel the experiences that you've had just by going there with your brain and be there in the same situation that you were in when it actually happened. Like in my case, when I was a child, when I was 2 years old, after my sister died, then I became the child that nobody took care of. I would see this, what I call my beautiful lady, that would come and visit me every night and roam around the room. And I remember seeing the soles of her feet so clearly as she would roam around. And at the age of 2, I just liked the idea of having a visitor that, come and pay attention to me. But I didn't learn until many, many years later, when I was preparing to do a presentation at the group at Farmington, the Yukon Health Center. I was writing my presentation, and as I was doing this chronologically, I asked that, was that a near-death? I had this feeling that I had to ask whether that was a near-death experience, and I got this firm yes right in my gut. And that's the first time, this was like maybe 5-6 years ago, when I first heard that emotional near-death experiences do exist. And I was also told by Spirit that at the same time, I was also being prepared to do the work that I do today, that I didn't start doing fully until 20 years ago, when I saw the same beautiful lady that used to come and visit me over my garage barn. But at this time, she had this biggest wings, and she told me her name, and then she said that it was important for me to do my work and not to and just trust that the information would come through me, not from me. All I needed to do is trust, and they would do the rest. That was a very pivotal time in my life that I finally accepted it, and until I hear feedback, I never know what comes through me, because I hear, I feel, I see. That's how I do my work, and I just trust, and it's been quite a journey. I just am so grateful for that.
So you described your emotional near-death experience. Now, more than, or in addition to, having that feeling in your gut, you were able to go to websites and see that indeed that is common enough to be.
I actually spoke with some of the people at the IN's organization, and they have told me, oh yes, emotional and near-death experiences do exist. They're valid, because if this hadn't happened to you, if they hadn't come to your rescue, you probably would not have been able to have the mind that you have today, to be able to do the work that you do and to continue with the rest of your life. That was definitely a divine intervention, and that's what they call, all the researchers there, they call it an emotional near-death experience. It could also be, for lack of better words, I don't know, but that's what they consider something drastic that changes your life forever. It's called an emotional near-death, instead of when you stop breathing, that's a physical, they have emotional. And like I said, I didn't hear about that until about 5-6 years ago.
So what is the difference then between an emotional near-death experience and a major heartbreak or traumatic event?
Well, in my case, it was, because I was only 2, and 2 is a very pivotal time in people's lives, because things are getting integrated and changed, and the ego still is not there. So everything that happens around you is it affects you, whether their mind is going to be normal or not. Normal is but anyway, so a heartbreak to me is when you have a shock as an adult. I feel you have shocking situation with somebody, a lover cheats on you or something like that. But of course, I'm sure that there are other explanations for that.
Well, I would guess from the research that I've done to interview you that they have to follow a pattern. All the readings that I have seen say that's part of the criteria, is that it fits this pattern.
Okay.
Within-
So what have you found out in your research as far as the difference? Have you
Between that and a
that?
heartbreak.
Yeah. Mm.
I was going to ask you that.
I haven't researched that because it's to me it just is what it is. It's an acceptance that there is no chance that it could be substituted by something else. That's the way it feels for me. And when I asked, was that an emotional boom, right away was something just hit me in the pit of my stomach, the solar plexus, and I got my answer.
So I'm going to guess that there are traumas that can be considered an emotional near-death. It depends on what happens afterwards within the psyche. Now, there was an article in Scientific American saying that there are changes in the brain, and that's why they feel people had near-death experiences. And so, as I said earlier, perhaps emotionally or physically, the near-death experiences cause a change in the brain.
I do believe that. I'm not. I'm far from being scientific, and everything is just my acceptance of spirit messages is just, it makes sense to me. So I don't go into the scientific world, but I know that the information comes from the frontal vortex, and that is what gets sharper once you leave, your soul leaves the body, even though the body is not fully dead. You go to a different dimension, a different space, and when you come back, everything, the memory recall is there. As far as there's more than this out there, and you can go there. You don't have to necessarily have a near-death experience to get to that place. You can do that by intention. I don't know if that answers the question. One of the things that I have learned through the years is that the energy that is being expressed by us humans is not necessarily clear as far as finding the words that we find to express the energies are as close to that explanation as possible. Because we're dealing with energy, and we're very limited as far as the words.
It's difficult to find words to describe it because words describe, and therefore it limits.
Yeah.
And the energy and spirit is beyond those limits, so it is difficult to understand.
That's why when I receive information, it comes through me by visions, especially when I close my eyes, visions, feelings, and also words. So they integrate all those three modalities in order to be able to express what needs to be shared with others when I do my sessions.
Now, do you have people come to you sharing emotional near-death experiences?
Well, I've had people come to me for that, but they never thought that it was that. Even people that have gone through counseling and for years thinking that they're crazy. And then, of course, I'm such an open book. I share this with everybody because the feeling is that the more I share, the more comfortable it'll be for others to share whatever is unusual for them. And then I can help them to explain to them, what it might be. It could be an emotion, it could be whatever. But it is such an incredible feeling to be able to help people that way, and that's my feeling right now is that I need to share that even more so. I was hired to speak at St. Francis Hospital for Nurses Association to do a fundraiser, and that was one of the main things that they wanted me to do. So the timing is right, and I am so grateful for that.
So there are some places you can get information. You've mentioned IANS,
Yes.
International Association
of
for
Near-Death
Studies.
And they do have researchers there. you can get in touch with. There are specific researchers that do certain types of research, so they can get you in touch with that.
And then there's the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation, the NDERF.org, neardeath.com, and neardeathexperiences.org. So there are others. There are many others out there. I just wanted to give people
Yes.
some idea that there are a lot of resources, a lot of investigation, a lot of interest.
The important thing is to know that it's very important not to be suffering. There is help out there. Reach out, put your ego aside, and reach out to people, and so you can start feeling better, if nothing else, to know that others are in the same or have been in the same spot as you, and we're all here to help each other, and that's what I'm grateful to be in.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. If you have comments, please post your
Questions.
comments, questions. If you want to engage in this conversation, it's very interesting. And subscribe to the videos.
Thank you.
Thank you.